Right. So, I guess we can take a few learnings out of that little flashback there. For one, try not to eat your foot, but otherwise, I'm just going to show you guys what exactly happened so that it doesn't happen to you. Alright, so on my DeWalt miter saw stand, it has these convenient little bump stops. So if you got a length of board set out just right, instead of having to measure and mark every time, you can lock these in place and just bump your wood up against it and it's ready to chop. Anyways, during a previous cut, I had flipped these up with the intention of using them. The problem was, I didn't put them back down when I wasn't using them. So when they're up like this, I'll show you now with a new piece of lumber. Alright, when they're up like so, that's fine, they're supported, but the actual level of the saw base is down at the silver area. So the board is actually higher than the base right now. So when there's a piece of wood on the stand ready to be cut and my weight is holding onto the board, it's actually pushing it down to the base, but it wants to flex back upwards. But the whole action of me pushing down is causing a bow along the length of the board and creating a pinch action at the upper half of the board. So once the blade was down far enough, my weight on the board creating that pinching pressure was enough to grab the blade and cause that jarring motion. Alright, so now that we've reviewed what happened last time, hopefully myself and you guys can avoid that problem in the future. So with all that said, let's continue on with the project and we'll see what we're doing today. Alright, so when it comes to the end wall, one thing I need to figure out now is how much space the nesting box is going to take up. Because by figuring that out, that's going to help me framing up the rest of the sidewalls. Because in the sidewalls, I want to incorporate some ventilation windows. So I need to know where to place those ventilation windows so that they're not interfering with the nesting box and that they're not too close up in the eave. So what I'm figuring is, since I got 1 foot of depth, we'll say, to the nesting box, I'm probably going to aim for approximately 1 foot of headroom at the most lateral side of the nesting box. So the biggest thing that needs to be calculated then is what angle is going to give me a decent nesting box roof while leaving me enough sidewall for those ventilation windows. Alright, so where I'm going to begin for working out the nesting box roof and where it attaches to, I'm going to come up from the foundation 12 inches. Alright, that gives me an additional piece on top of the 1.5 inch footer of 10.5 inches to give me that 12 inches or 1 foot of backspace. So what I'm going to do first is cut 2 more pieces at 10.5 inches and get those screwed on to the wall, and we'll go from there for calculating what kind of angle and attachment point we're going to have for the actual roof of the nesting boxes. Alright, so what I'm thinking for the roof of the nesting box is probably a 30-degree pitch. So we're going to be coming off the wall and going down to the base, but we want that 30-degree pitch. So since we're still completing a full 90-degree angle, but we want to put the top into a pitch, we're going to work with a combination of 30-degree angles. So 30, 30, and 30 is a full 90-degree turn. So that's what we're going to be doing, but we're going to do multiple 30s to get that pitch in the middle. So I'm going to cut my 10.5 inch lengths first, then I'm going to put a 30-inch bevel at the top, maintaining the 10.5 length on the outside. So that's one 10.5 inch piece. And there's another, this one will go on the rear wall. So next, I'm going to set the saw to 30 degrees and we'll make our bevel cuts right up to the end of the board. Alright, so there's our two 10.5-inch lengths with a 30-degree bevel at the end. And so from here, I'm just going to get those screwed on. Alright, so the next part of the puzzle is to figure out what length we're going to need to get back to the wall from joining onto this. So this is a piece here, I got a 30-degree angle cut on this side. So I'm going to mate that up. Try and have it all squared up as well. And what I'm going to do is use my square. I'm going to mate everything up the way I would like it. And I'm just going to use my square to extend it to where the joint is going to be, which is going to be right there. So I'll mark that. Alright, so now if I take a measurement from the mark I just made to the tip of this board, I'm going to see that I have 14 inches. So 14 inches should be perfect for that. So I know that I'm going to need a 14-inch piece with a 30-degree bevel in this way and a 30-degree bevel in this way. So let's go and cut that, test it out. Alright, so I got a couple of boards marked with 14 inches. So we'll start off by cutting those to length. Alright, so now that I got my 14-inch pieces, I'm just going to do two 30-degree bevels on either end and just make sure they're both pointing in towards the center on the same side. And there we go, two pieces ready for both ends. Alright, so I'm just going to start off with the front wall. Test fit that in place. And that's great. So put some glue on there and screw it in. So one thing as well that I've noticed is my base plate on this front wall has a twist at the end. So I'm going to be probably fighting with that a little bit to get this screwed in place properly. That's the first one done. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the measurement of my marking, which is 17 and we'll say 17 3/8. That should be about right. And I'm going to transfer that onto the other side to use it over there. So now that I got the marking transferred over, I'll come over and screw this into place. Quick little test fit. Looks great. Hopefully this side won't be as much of a struggle as the other, because the footer on this one doesn't seem to be twisted. Alright, so now I want to see how much real estate is left on this side wall now that the nesting box is incorporated. I got to allow some room for a lid and hinges and you know, give it a bit of leeway for opening and whatnot. So let's see what we're left with. So I'm going to measure from the top down to our mark, and it's 25 inches exactly. I'm just going to measure the other side to make sure everything worked out properly, and that is 25 inches as well. So success so far. So out of that 25 inches, we'll figure out where exactly we want our air vents to be. More than likely kind of close to the top, so that when they are opened up, the shutters on them can provide some kind of weather protection. And aesthetically, I would say probably the middle of that 25 inches would provide a good spot for the middle of the vents. So the middle of 25 is 12.5, right? And we got to decide what size vents we're looking at. I think keeping with the clean outdoor, just so things are a little bit on par with each other, we'll go for a 6-inch total. So we'll measure 3.5 inches on either side of that. Actually 3 inches, sorry. And 3 inches this way. I think that'll be a nice opening for a vent. Alright, so now that I've worked out what level I want the vents and everything at, I think it's a good time to sit down, redraw the plans for both walls, and I'm going to do that off camera just because probably going to be a little bit of fandangling to go on with it, and a bit of fiddling, you know, all those good F words, and probably one or two other ones mixed in during the process. So anyways, I'm going to go draw that up off screen and be right back and show you what I come up with. Alright, so as expected, it took a little bit of calculating and brain power, which, you know, did what I was going to do. This is the rough outline I've come up with. I don't know how legible or comprehensive that is, but at least I know what it is. So that's taken into account 2 holes for the chickens to get into the nesting boxes, separated a bit so at least they feel like it's 2 separate apartments for them, you know. We got our vent holes incorporated here. There's definitely no worrying about 16-inch centers with this wall. This is just custom everything. So 16 inches went out the window. So what I've come up with, these are the measurements: 289, 641s, 624s, and 212s. And we'll take all that and puzzle it all together in this form, and that'll be our left wall, the one that has the nesting boxes. And we'll tackle the right wall once we got this one cut and put together. And there we have it. That's everything cut. So now it's time for some assembly required. So I've gone around off camera and just marked the location of each stud and their joining points according to the plan that I made. And so now I'll just go around, glue and screw everything we got here, and hopefully we'll have a nice wall at the end of it. Alright, time to fast forward. And there we go. That is the left side wall done. Alright, so now that the left wall is done, it's time to plan out the right wall. I think we're still doing good on time. We may actually get the right wall completed today as well. And you know what that means. If you got 4 walls, it's hard not to put them all together. But we're not going to get ahead of ourselves too much. The right wall though should be a lot simpler than the left. Because the right wall, all it's going to have is a 1 foot by 1 foot exit for the chickens to get out. I'm not going to put any air vents in on that side, just because I kind of picture it, if you're attaching a run or a cage, you know, up to the side of that side of the coop for them to come out, you're not really going to be going inside the run on a regular basis to open up the vents or anything like that. Plus I'm going to have a 12 inch by 12 inch vent on the rear side, plus probably some round gable vents up in the roof. So I think ventilation is probably not going to be an issue. I don't think I need more vents on the other side, you know. Those 2 vents right there on the left wall should be just fine, and they should look nice too. So with that said, I'm going to lay this wall aside and we'll get to designing the right wall. Alright, so looking back at the plan I had already drawn up before I started, I am happy with it. So I'm going to be doing exactly what I had planned in the beginning. So that's 7 foot 2 inch headers and footers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, well actually not that one. 1, 2, 3, 6 41 inch studs. We got a 27.5 inch stud in the middle with a 30.5 inch above the chicken door opening and 2 12-inch pieces to frame up that 12-inch opening. And that, once put together, should give us our right wall with a 1 foot by 1 foot chicken door right in the middle. I think that looks good. Alright, let's get cutting. Alright, so in the interest of time, my sanity, your sanity, all the above, I'm going to skip footage of making the cuts. You know the lengths I'm doing, you've seen me do it multiple times. It's only if I hurt myself and I don't come back to finish the video that it would really matter, and there won't be any video evidence of the injury. That's probably... No, it's okay, we'll skip it and we'll be back once I get all the lengths cut. Alright. Hey guys, just a quick little update. While I was cutting the header and footer for the next wall, I was looking at the measurements and something wasn't quite adding up after I had cut the boards and I was sizing them up lengthwise. And I realized that I had cut them at 89 inches, thinking that that was 7 foot 2, because the whole base is 7 foot 9. So for the end walls, the 3.5 inches for the 2x4s at both sides would be take off 7 inches. Anyways, I had it at 89 inches, but it's supposed to be 86. Alright, because the whole length of this is 93, so we needed 7 off of that to be 86, and I was cutting 89. That included the left wall that we already had done. So I've gone back and I've taken 1.5 inches off both sides of the left wall, and then I'll take 3 inches off of the right wall post when I get to it. So figure I wanted to throw that update in there just in the unlikely chance somebody's copying my project and building it themselves. It's not 89 inch length walls, it's 86. And then the 7 inches at both sides with the 2 end walls makes up the 93. And we're back on track. I'm just going to pop a few more screws back in this, and then I'll start cutting some more lengths of wood there. Alright, so the right wall cutting is done, layout is done, time to put it together. Well, there you have it. That is the right wall complete and put together. So you know what's next. What do you think? Do we have time? Yeah, we got time. Let's put up the walls. As I go, I'm going to be putting the acoustic sealant, vapor and sound barrier, same as Acoustiseal, same as what I put on the vapor barrier on the base there. So I'm going to be putting that on the foundation where I'm going to be putting the wall down, just to cut out that channel for any air to leak in under the studs and under the footings. Just that one more step above and beyond, you know, to controlling the ventilation and drafts and whatnot. I want to control the airflow in there myself using the vents rather than having random spots of air leakage. So with that said, I'm going to lay up the front wall, put some Acoustiseal underneath, stand it up, screw it down, and we'll go from there. Alright, now we'll carry on with the right wall. Be good now. Alright, so that's two walls done. We'll get to the rear now. Alright everybody, one more wall. Hey guys, so the main camera filled up on memory, so I'm just recording this last little bit on my phone. But that was the last wall, so I finished a few more screws after you guys got cut off, and here we are. 4 walls are up. Pretty good. If you made it this far in the video, thank you very much. You're one of the troopers, you know, make it all the way here. But the project's going really good. We finally got 4 walls. Next time we'll probably do some sheeting. Now my wife got to work a bit and I got to work in the upcoming week, so this might be the last video for the next at least half a week to a week. But I think we've made some great progress, and I thank you very much for coming along. So with that said, we'll have a quick look around. So like I say, this is the left side, the nesting box side. We got our air vents right there and there. We got some doors here for the chickens to enter the nesting boxes. I'll probably have a divider right here and then a divider here, so it'll be 2 nesting boxes on either side of the divider, and then I'll have all this space here for storage. And same thing on this side, I'll have this space here for storage, whether it's feed or tools. So on the back, I'll probably add a little window in the back. But other than that, we got our 1 foot by 1 foot vent hole, which I got ordered and on the way, and our 6-inch clean out down on bottom. Right side, pretty simple. 1 foot by 1 foot entry and exit for the chickens. Easy peasy. And then on the front, we got our 2 foot by 4 foot entryway. And as you can see, we got lots of room in there for the chicks. So yeah, that's about it for now, guys. Like I say, if you made it this far, and if you watched it all today anyways, I appreciate you all. And I hope you're all happy and healthy. Take care of each other, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.